Hello, everyone, and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. So, I'm back for another Have Your Say, where you get to vote on whether you agree with this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, God help us.
And this video is for All Stars 10 Episode 4. So today we're going to be recapping the episode, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll, and we're talking about a little bit of light drama to do with Tina Burner clapping back at Mistress Isabel Brooks on the back of this week's episode, and Mistress Isabel Brooks responds to some criticism that she got from this week's episode. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. But before we get started, I just wanted to show a message from a special guest that asked to come on. Yes, thank you, Matt. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Claudia Pousset, and I am a doctor of market research. Matt asked me to come on today to help with some market research and some shocking things that I have found. And that is that over 60% of you are not subscribed to this channel. So please could you do, Matt, what you would call a solid, and can you please subscribe to his channel? I have done countless hours of the research to find this, so please do not let it go to waste. And now we will go back to your regularly scheduled programming. So this is now episode 4, and we've now moved on to bracket 2. And the queens in this bracket are Georges, Kerry Colby, Lydia B. Collins, Mistress Isabel Brooks, Nicole Page Brooks, and Tina Burner. Now, I'm not going to give my opinions on each of the queens because I already did that in the Meet the Queens Have Your Say, which I'll link to in the description.
It never stops.
So let's just actually dive straight into this episode. Okay, so we find out that this episode is a design challenge. Now, I know this is going to sound like I'm a broken record, but I'm not always the biggest fan of design challenges. I know, I say this every week. I feel like all the time I just talk about challenges that I don't like.
I'll tell you why, because you are a mean girl.
But with design challenges, quite often I think it does obviously really depend on whether the queens in that particular group are good at making outfits. I do feel that maybe they took that into account because, as we'll see later on, I do feel like the queens in this particular group actually did a pretty good job. But what the queens do is they get given an 8 ball, and inside they have a random assortment of materials, and you have to use each of the 8 materials, and you have to be able to see them all as well on the outfit. So I did think this was quite a cool twist because we haven't necessarily seen that done before, so I at least appreciated that they're trying to give it a little bit of a refresh. One of the things that did happen in the workroom, though, before they did the main stage was that there was maybe a little bit of tension and drama brewing between Mistress Isabel Brooks and Tina Burner. And it was difficult to tell whether it was actually real shade and real drama or if it was just kind of manufactured for this episode. But it all stemmed from Mistress tweeting this kind of unflattering photo of Tina, and Tina apparently didn't reply back because Mistress slid in her DMs. And in general, I just thought this was kind of funny. I don't think it's particularly serious. We will talk about this a bit later because there is something that happened on social media after the episode. But I did appreciate that it was at least bringing some drama and some intrigue to this bracket. And I'm also loving that Nicole Page Brooks is just reading all of these queens for filth without actually trying to do any of it. She's just naturally so kind of honest but shady, and I absolutely love Nicole. She is so funny so far, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing the rest of this bracket. Okay, so let's dive into the actual outfits themselves, and like I said, it's a design challenge where they have to use all of the items from their 8 ball. And we're going to go in order in which they appeared, which, by the way, is alphabetical. And I don't think I realized that they do this a lot on Drag Race, but yes, it is actually alphabetical the way they do it a lot of the time. So the first queen up is Georges. I thought this was a pretty outfit. I liked the colors. I think it definitely does flatter her body, given that she is quite petite. The way the judges talked about this, I agree. I think it definitely did look really good. Maybe on the slightly more simple side, because it was effectively a very nice looking kind of bodysuit, swimsuit thing, but then also with this big flowing train cape thing behind her. I really enjoyed the colors though, so I guess I would probably give it a yay / just okay, because I don't think it was as good as some of the others, but it certainly wasn't a nay because it was still really good, and I think it did fit her really well. So yeah, somewhere between the two. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, you actually majority voted for just okay with 59.1%, and then yay got 28.5%, and then nay got 12.4%. Next up was Kerry Colby. Now, given that Kerry did not do that well in her previous design challenge on her original season, I was wondering if she was going to be in trouble this week. I actually think what she made was perfectly serviceable. It wasn't quite as extravagant as some of the others, but she definitely was showing off her body, which is her signature sort of thing, and her body is amazing, so I would show it off if I looked like that as well.
Yeah, but you don't.
Although it was very simple, I will say, but it was styled very well, and I think it did work in general. So I would probably give this one a just okay, maybe a yay, but to me it was more just okay because I do think it maybe was just a little bit more simple and bare bones than some of the other outfits that we saw, but she still looked amazing. And it seems that you mainly agree because you voted 45% for just okay, but then 34.6 for nay, and then only 20.1 for yay. Next up, we had Lydia B. Collins. I really enjoyed this outfit because it was very much, you could tell straight away what it was. It was 80s. It was giving those 80s fitness things that they used to do, fitness VHS tapes that they used to do, especially with celebrities and stuff where they had like the bands and like the leg warmers and all of that kind of stuff. It was definitely giving me all of that. I really loved the fact that she had these neon sort of yellow and pink colors, but also the zebra print as well. And it's one of those things that it shouldn't work, but it does. I think she styled it really well. Personally, I really enjoyed this, so I would definitely give it a yay. And it seems like you agreed because you voted 74.6% for yay, 21.8% for just okay, which I personally was a little bit surprised by, and then 3.5% for nay. Next up, we had Mistress Isabel Brooks. Now, this is such a classic Mistress Isabel Brooks silhouette. I think she looked amazing. The outfit was actually really well constructed. Her body was on point as always. She was painted for the gods. She had high hair. She was doing high drag. And the fact that she managed to use all of those different patterns and everything, and it actually looked like something she brought from home. Like, it was that good. If she had worn this on a normal runway, I probably wouldn't have realized that she made it. So yeah, I would definitely give this a yay. And you seem to agree because you voted 69.8% for yay, 26.8% for just okay, and then 3.4% for nay. Then we had Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia. I love Nicole so much. She is honestly one of my favorites in this particular bracket because she is just so naturally charismatic and funny. This particular outfit for me was not my favorite though. I'm really sorry. I love you, Nicole, if you're watching. Let's be honest, she's not watching. She's got better things to do than to watch my show.
Well, of course.
But I personally did not really like this outfit very much. I could see what she was going for, and I think for someone who maybe doesn't sew, it was actually quite nicely made in the sense of it did fit her body well. It looked decent from that point of view. I just think that, as the judges said, and I think Nicole knew it as well, some of the finishings, like the stars and things, just looked a little bit unfinished or just a little bit kind of, it did look very homemade, but not necessarily in a good way. And I think the colors as well, the green and the blue, I guess they can't really do anything about that because that's what they get given. But it was giving me flashbacks to when Pandora Box and Mimi First did a similar style in All Stars 1, that kind of blue and Muppet green. So yeah, unfortunately, this was just not my favorite. So I think I'd have to give it a nay. And it seems like you agreed because you voted 73.9% for nay, 22.7% for just okay, and then only 3.4% voted for yay. And then finally, we had Tina Burner. I loved Tina's look. Like, as the judges said, it was so impressive that she managed to make not only the trousers or pants, as you would call it in America, but she made the jacket. It was lined as well. She also stoned the shoes. She made so much stuff. Like, I am absolutely mind blown that she made all of that stuff, and it all actually looked really good and well made. And as they kind of alluded to, a lot of people didn't know that Tina had these skills. Now, I will say, to toot my own horn, I know, surprise, surprise.
Oh God, not this again.
I did actually interview Tina, some of you may know, a while back, and I talked to her about her design challenge that she did on her original season. And I said that I actually really enjoyed the outfit that she made because it was a beanbag. And I thought it was really well made. So yeah, I definitely would give Tina a yay. And by far for me, this was just blew me away of how much work must have gone into this. And it seemed like you agreed because 91.6% of you voted for yay, 6.2% voted just okay, and then a weird 2.2 voted for nay. So then the next question was, who gets the slay, as in whose outfit is the best? And you voted 67% for Tina Burner, 20.2% for Lydia B. Collins, and 10% for Mistress. I would have to agree. As I said earlier, I was so impressed by Tina. Not only did the outfit look good, it was so well made. I genuinely was surprised that she managed to do all that in the amount of time that they had. Like, she made multiple items, people. It wasn't just one dress. She made so much stuff, and it was lined. As Derek Barry would say, there was a hem here, there was a hem there. Everywhere there's a hem.
So I have a hem everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a hem.
Yeah, so for me, Tina definitely got the slay. We then find out that the top two for this week are Tina Burner and Lydia B. Collins. And I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the top two? And you voted 65.8% for yes, and then 34.2% for no, so over a third. And then of that third of you that voted no, I said who should have been in the top instead. And you voted, perhaps unsurprisingly, 85.4% for Mistress Isabel Brooks, 7.3% for Kerry Colby, and 6.9% for Georges. Personally, I will say, although I did really like Mistress's outfit, I do think that although it was probably one of the better made outfits in terms of the construction, it was maybe something we've seen from her quite a few times in terms of the silhouette. Whereas with Tina, it was really different and was well made. And with Lydia, it was really quirky and fit her style and was something very different. And it's also 80s, which we know RuPaul loves. So I can sort of see why those two were the top two. But I agree that Mistress then would have, for me, been the third. Tina and Lydia then lip-synced the song Love Sensation by Lolita Holloway, and Lydia is announced as the winner of the lip-sync and therefore wins the extra point. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip-sync? And you voted 92.5% for Lydia B. Collins and 7.5% for Tina Burner. Then, moving on to question 5, I asked, who would you give your one NVQ or most valuable queen point to? And you voted Mistress Isabel Brooks with 54.4, then Nicole Page Brooks with 23.8, then Georges with 11.3, and Kerry Colby with 10.5. I think this is a very interesting question because it comes down to what you want to give your point for and whether you're being strategic or not. If I was being strategic, I maybe, being a little bit, would maybe give my point not to Mistress, because I think Mistress is going to do well in all the other challenges. I mean, she did well in this challenge, but I think she'll do well in every challenge. So I might not give my point to her because I think she's going to get points anyway. So if I was being strategic, I would have probably given my points to someone who did not do as well this week, just to be strategic. But if I was giving it being, fair and miscongeniality, then I would give it to Mistress because I do think she would have been the third person, like the third best. Then finally, question 6 was, who do you think will be the top 3 at the end of the bracket? And I made you select 3. And I know a lot of you are probably freaking out because it's a bar chart and not a pie chart.
Literally, no one cares.
So interestingly, Lydia and Mistress are almost tied with 91.5% and 91.1%, so very close. And then Georges was third with 58.5%. Then it was Tina with 39.3%. Then Kerry with 10.8% and Nicole with 8.9%. Okay, so let's move on to the comments for this week. And my Patreon Riot said, Tina blew me away. That was amazing. I totally agree. I was absolutely floored at how much she managed to achieve in such a short space of time. My Patreon Kerry said, Mistress was so heated when she didn't get top 2. It was delicious. I agree. It was like finger licking KFC. It was so good watching it. Obviously, Mistress is great TV. She knows what she's doing. I doubt it was really that serious. She was probably doing it because it was good TV. Maybe she was genuinely also pressed, but I personally really enjoy Mistress, and I think she knows that she's making good TV, so I just accept it for what it is. And then my Patreon Deb said, Tina was great. Her Instagram post explaining her AUDHD diagnosis made me connect with her even more. Really enjoyed this episode. Nicole Page Brooks also gave me life. She was so shady. And moving on to the Have Your Say poll comments, there were quite a few comments, as you can imagine, talking about Mistress, saying Mistress walking up to RuPaul being like, "What did that bee say about me?" was so funny. This episode was amazing. Loved the drama. And me too. We all know I love a bit of drama. And I do think this episode brought the drama, especially with Mistress. And a lot of people in general were just saying, I love Mistress, because, I mean, she is great TV. Of course, a lot of you are talking about Miss Nicole Page Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia, to give her her full title. She even has her own acronym that people always put up, which is Nicole Page Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia. And I just think it's so funny. But yeah, she is absolutely an amazing queen. I'm so happy that she's on this season. And finally, someone noticed something that I also noticed, which was Rue looked uncomfortable on the runway. I was very surprised because when Rue came out, she really looked like she was either struggling to walk or maybe she was injured or something. I don't know, because normally she looks so good and so graceful on the runway, but there was definitely something about this week that I noticed straight away. So yeah, not sure why, but maybe Mother was just not mothering as much as she normally does. Also, I just want to say thank you so much for all the lovely positive comments that you leave in the Have Your Say poll and on the videos. I know so many of you love my unhingedness in these videos and the cutaways or whatever. So thank you so much for your comments. One person in particular did say, thank you for putting captions on your videos, not just using the auto captions. I'm sure it's extra work, yes, but it's a much better experience for people who need them. So thank you so much. I'm glad that they are appreciated. I do all of that myself. I use software that does it automatically, but I do check them manually to make sure it's all correct. And you may maybe find a little Easter egg in this week's captions if you look at them right now. So make sure you check out the captions and put it in the comments to show that you actually did read them. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a little bit of light drama to do with Mistress Isabel Brooks clapping back at Tina Burner. So as we saw in this week's episode, Tina Burner brought up that a while back, Mistress posted an unflattering photo of Tina with the caption, "Good morning," and she said that Tina then tried to come for her because of that. Tina then said that Mistress tried to slide into her DMs, but Tina didn't respond, but Mistress said she wanted to see the receipts. Mistress then said she reached out to Tina, who was being, quote, bitter and nasty, and Tina said Mistress was lying, and the two of them had a bit of a back and forward in this episode, and it was difficult to tell if they were playing it up for the camera or whether it was genuine. Well, after the episode came out, it looks like Tina did post the receipts, and she and Mistress had a jokey exchange. So Tina tweeted a screenshot of her DMs, and it showed that Mistress DM'd her twice back in 2024, saying, "LMAO, I love you." Then the eyes emoji. Tina tweeted this screenshot and said, "Show me the receipts." She slid into my DMs and she tagged Mistress. Mistress then retweeted Tina's post and said, "The way I sent the eyes because I heard she was going to be on All Stars 10, LMAO." Mistress also commented on Tina's post saying, "I'm trying to F." And Tina said, "Let's go," with the devil emoji. Mistress also tweeted the image of Tina again with the caption, "Good morning," but this time she clearly put some kind of beauty filter on the photo. So it looks like this was just a jokey exchange between Mistress and Tina, but I thought this was interesting to actually see the receipts of what they had talked about in the episode. There is also a separate bit of drama to do with Mistress after this week's episode as well. So, a Twitter user posted a photo of Mistress's design challenge outfit from this week and said, "Mistress should have been in the top 2 for this and y'all know it." Candy Muse then replied to that person saying, "Me when I lie." Mistress then responded to Candy's tweet with some photos of Candy and said, "Me when a sloppy B word gives her 2 cents, but this is how she chooses to present herself. I just burst out laughing," with the pig emoji plus others. Candy then replied to Mistress saying, "Sister, be a sister. I just knew you were going to chew me up." So again, it seems like this was just some jokey shade between the queens. However, it does look like Mistress did get some criticism on the back of this week's episode. Presumably it was because of some of the things that Mistress said in the workroom and also during Untucked, and some people then accused Mistress of being a bully and instigating things. Mistress seemingly responded to this criticism when she tweeted saying, "It's so strange to see grown-ass men and women comment on stuff about me and say I'm a bully. It's time y'all let go of your trauma and go seek mental help. If you can't watch a TV show without it triggering psychological issues, I think we have bigger issues. Weird Fs." This is also reminiscent of, you may remember that back on season 15, Mistress's Instagram and Twitter accounts got banned multiple times, with her Instagram getting banned 3 times. This was because lots of fans accused Mistress of bullying other contestants such as Marsha, and many fans decided to mass report Mistress's social media accounts to get her account banned or temporarily suspended. And I did do a video where I talked about this in more detail, which I'll link to in the description. But in general, please just remember that Drag Race is just a TV show, and for the most part, it's really not that serious. So please do not send any hate to any of the queens, and just enjoy the show without getting involved in any of the negativity. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say for RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 Episode 4. What did you think of Bracket 2 so far, and which challenges do you hope come up in the rest of the season? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to have your comments featured in my Have Your Say videos, get early access to my videos, access to the exclusive Patreon chat, as well as exclusive content and a raft of other things, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It's a cheap and easy way to support me, and I would really, really appreciate it. And I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description. Also, thank you so much to all my wonderful, amazing Patreons. You are all absolutely legends. Looking at all of your names on this list just reminds me of how lucky I am. I pinched myself every single day, and I'm just so appreciative of all your help. So thank you so much for all of your love and support. Please make sure you like and comment if you enjoyed this video, because it does actually really help to boost the algorithm and promote this video to more people. And as Dr. Claudia Pousset said earlier, please make sure you subscribe, because it does actually make a huge difference, and I'd love to get to 150k by the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in future for more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye!